Speaker. Thank you, Ranking Member Pallone, for yielding to me. And again, want to thank Chairman Walden for bringing this bill to this floor. And I rise in support of H.R. 5009, Jessie's Law, and I'm very proud of the work that I have done with my colleague, Tim Walberg from Michigan. In Michigan, we are really trying to address this problem together. This story is personal to me, as it is to Congressman Walberg and my colleagues who have gotten to know Jessie's story. It's been a moving experience to be part of a process to pass this legislation in her honor. In March 2016, we lost this brave young woman named Jessie Grubb. She was a great student, a loving daughter, a sister, and an avid runner. She was, as has been noted, recovering from an opioid addiction issue. She moved to Michigan hoping for a reset and a better future. When she had surgery for an infection related to the running injury, her parents came and took care of her and made it clear to the doctors at the hospital she was a recovering addict and should not be prescribed opioids. As you've heard, she was discharged from the hospital with 50 oxycodone pills. And very soon after, she suffered from a fatal overdose. The story of Jessie breaks your heart, but mostly because this death was preventable. We must ensure that doctors are notified when a patient has consented to sharing information related to an addiction. Jessie's Law would require that the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services establish best practices for ensuring that the medical professionals have full knowledge of their patient's opioid addiction if that patient gives consent. This is absolutely essential. If a patient has given their consent that their history of substance abuse can be part of their medical record, then it should be displayed prominently. We don't know all of the facts of this case, but we do know that Jessie's parents did tell her doctor that she had a history of substance abuse, and yet they were prescribed anyway. We can't have this kind of information lost in the jumble of a medical record. If a patient consents, it needs to be prominently displayed. Our legislation convenes a panel of stakeholders to make recommendations as to how to best achieve this change, including the patient with a history of opioid use disorder, an expert in electronic health records, an expert in the confidentiality of patient health information and records, and a healthcare provider. Jessie's death was 100% preventable, and today the House of Representatives is sending a strong message that her loss was not in vain, and no other family should ever have to go through what the Grubb family has gone through. This story is a real tragedy, but hopefully passing Jessie's Law will bring hope to the Grubbs and others throughout this country. This legislation represents a common sense that deserves our support, and I urge my colleagues to support Jessie's Law. I yield back the